All right, we can begin our stream. I currently am home alone, so I expect that will change within the next couple of minutes or subsequent hours. So I'll try to make the most of it with what I can. Um, I'm probably going to do another Dragon Ball video this week. I don't know for sure what the topic is. I'm mulling uncanceling the Moro video because I've really been disappointed by the collective YouTube community on reviewing that arc. Like when people criticize it, they don't review it over the stuff that or rather get into it over the things I'd like to see discussed. So I might uncancel that. I'm still not sure because, like I said, the amount of work that that particular video would need is more than most other ones, with all the different screenshots and recaps and whatnot. And Dio is trying to make a name for himself as the initial commentator of this stream. That's how he's going to get his credit. So I appreciate your attendance, if that's any consolation prize. I'm going to do a video likely this week, might be next week, called I've Been Criticized for Everything. And it's going to show all these different screenshots with the usernames of people to show that it's not just one person saying these types of things. And it's really going to validate the claim I have, which is that when you are told to have a problem with yourself because of someone else being perceived to have a problem with you over that, you enter a fruitless task of trying to improve who you are, not based off of expectations you might form for yourself, but off of those of people who've never met you and people who, you know, because they're different, are always going to have various things they might not like, and it's just impossible to appeal to everyone. I missed other stream because I was sleeping. So you should have been up all night playing fighters. I know you think Baby is a very cool character and he was using all those great moves, but it's no excuse. Man, it was funny that I think it was Kotaku wrote an article where they're like, Super Baby just got confirmed for fighters, whoever that is. Like, it's so sad that like Dragon Ball fans are the only group I can think of that don't like, it's just a thing that they don't watch their own show. Like even if you ask some of them when's the last time you saw Z, it's been over like 10 years. The only fandom I've ever seen where it's just a normal thing for them to not watch their own crap. Like comic fans will read comics. Uh Video game fans will sometimes go back and play older games. They're the only group I've ever just witnessed that it's like a common thing for ones to have not seen. If they have seen the ones that aren't super, it's been years to where they like will even forget very important plot details, or they just don't bother with it at all. It's sad because usually if I'm a fan of something, I want to see it more than once. I at least want to see it enough to where I remember what happened. I know this one person that what's what are those movies called? Where they like the first 7 Friday the 13th, so they just keep rewatching them every year. They have them on DVD. I said, well, hey, that's someone who actually is into this stuff and you know, will revisit that which they enjoy. Only Dragon Ball fans are the people who haven't seen their own stuff. You'll be surprised how many fans like have more memories of the games than the show itself. I mean, I had the games as well, but like it was always the show first and foremost. Like I remember one of the first DVD purchases I made when I was underage, or I guess not legally able to buy stuff myself, was getting the second to last season of Z for the Funimation dub, when they used to have the little orange brick sets where like half the screen was cut off. Good evening from the UK. Yeah, James, I don't know what counting you made to think you're second, but you're gonna have to multiply. And then Joe says life is depressing, and now he's running away. Well, they can't really call themselves a fan then if that's the case. It's sad too because um like Dragon Ball is online for free for people to watch and they just refuse. And I've even seen ones outright admit fans who will like deliberately say I'm not watching this or I refuse to watch this. I just think it's crazy. Like I said, I've never seen a fandom where it's just a normal thing for them to have not seen their own stuff. Especially since the Dragon Ball anime is actually like the original one with the original and then Z is fairly short compared to a lot of other modern shows. Like Naruto Shippuden by itself is the length of Z and the original Dragon Ball combined. Wishy-washy behavior. Megumi, you might not remember this person, and I try to forget him. The one that I did the stream responding to their video, but like on one of my Dragon Ball streams, they said they would not watch the original Dragon Ball because they couldn't blow up planets yet. You would never see a fan of any other goddamn show cite that as the reason they won't watch its predecessor. You don't see Naruto fans saying that. You don't see One Piece fans saying that. You don't see any just only fans that would ever have an idea like that be, something that blocks them from watching the show. That was the most insane thing I've ever seen. Hey, to hell if a show has a good story or interesting characters or an overarching plot that engages me. No, if the characters can't blow up a planet, I'm not going to watch it. Which would mean you wouldn't watch most shows because most shows don't have that. Yep. Megumi, there are people who don't like GT because they turned Goku into a kid. Like that's their number one complaint with that show. Like that's why I said that there's things that people get caught up on that I just don't care about. Like him being a kid didn't bother me at all. Hell, if anything, I was glad because I liked his English voice actor for the original Dragon Ball. I forgot her last name, but her first name is Stephanie. I like that she got to come back and play all those different Super Saiyan forms. I don't like GT. Why? Because they turned Goku into a kid. You're not going to get mad that they don't use the other characters that much anymore. No, just that. No, this one guy did it was somebody else that came up with that proposal of having like an alternate Dragon Ball show where Super Saiyan 4 is there instead of the God forms. And then like Ultra Instinct is only given to human characters. So that would be so much better than what we have. Let's make this form that anybody could get and let's give it to the same character that gets all the other forms that are exclusive to his race. Least give the show a chance before dropping it completely over that. Yeah, Megumi, I watched that entire show. Because in America, they made this people. This should show you how stupid people are. They made an episode called like The Grand Problem or something, and it skipped over the first. And GT is a short show in comparison with the other Dragon Ball shows. It skipped over like the first fourth of the show to start with the Baby Saga. And I saw that, and then after it got to the Shadow Dragon stuff, then they went back and released the episodes they skipped over on TV. No, it's very rare for me to just say to hell with the show, over something like that, over a character design. But you saw the same thing with the Future Trunks arc where people were mad about Trunks' hair being blue. I'm like, yes, it's stupid, it's inconsistent, but it doesn't break the arc. It's just a dumb design choice that the animators made. It's not that big of a deal. Yeah, and I always can't pronounce her last name. I was really disappointed she didn't come back for Kai because she was the most prolific actor out of the whole English Funimation cast. I should say Funimation cast. Because the only time she wasn't in the show was the Buu Saga. Because at that point, both Goku and Gohan were grown up. But I guess that's just how the cookie crumbles. Oh well, at least I can still hear her voice in the original Funimation dub. So there's that consolation. People take things personal, and it has nothing to do with them. Yeah. That was like a non sequitur. I don't even know where that came from. But I agree with the sentiment that people take things personally. Let's see what else is being written. Oh, I guess the chat got tired. They said, "To hell with my keyboard." I'm gonna let you speak to yourself. See here. Feel like people try to look for reasons to nitpick something they don't like to just hate on stuff. Um, yeah, I saw a lot of that with Super and with GT, where people will complain about both of them over aesthetic choices as opposed to the story itself. Like I've seen people complain about Baby's name being Baby, and it's like, okay, the villain before that, out of the major ones, was named Boo. So I don't like what, like most of these names for these villains are stuff that is kind of, I don't want to say goofy, but just relatively minor, like not something that would be considered cool. Like if I say Cell, nobody's gonna go, "Oh my god, that's so amazing." It's just a name. It's just a short name, and it keeps up that trend. You have Cell, you have Boo, you have Baby. But I've actually seen on the Kensenshu forum people complaining about that being his name. All people crying about changes in shows. No, it's just people complain about everything. Yeah, the Dragon Ball characters have silly names. I don't understand why that one was such a hell. The new villain in the manga's named Granola. But people always find a way to pretend that this is like a new trend that they started. Just like when Moro had that new form in the manga, there were people who were complaining about the way it looked, and I was like, okay, yeah, it's not as creative as the one before, but the main problem here is that it came out of nowhere, and now it's being used to circumvent a plot point that they seem to be setting up for no reason. Then there are fans who have the mentality of if the characters aren't strong enough to blow up the universe, I'm not watching. To hell with story. Yeah. And like I said, Dragon Ball is the only one of these shows with that ridiculous power creep. Like you didn't see that in Naruto, you didn't see that in One Piece. Like this is the only one out of any of these where like that's a thing that actually appeals to people. Who watches DV series for story? It seems like it, yeah. Who watches it for story? All we care about is transformation and power levels. I always hated those. Like, I don't get mad at people for making them, but that's the kind of stuff I never cared about. Because again, writers can make a character as strong as they want, with whatever explanation they would like. So it always just seemed like a waste of time to me to sit there and like mathematically calculate how powerful this character is compared to this other one, and based off of this episode's. Like, I'm good. I don't care about power levels or chakra or hockey or any of that. Just throw it all away. No, Dio, you would think people like believe Dragon Ball is a Bible and like somebody wrote that Goku and Vegeta would get stronger and stronger and everybody else just stay down here and that's why it is the way it is. That like this was all preordained, that no one sat in the room and made that decision. That's why when I'm on the Dragon Ball forums and they're like, it's too late for Piccolo to catch up, I'm like, you guys are the same people who were okay with Frieza going from being weaker than the first Super Saiyan to now being able to fight gods. And you're going to tell me about a character has reached their potential. So I said, I'm so done with just all of this. They just come up with stuff like, yeah, this makes sense. No, Megumi, like apparently people actually don't think of that. They just like they'll actually say this character has reached their max level of power in a series about not having limits. And really Frieza and 17 just like broke that because they were both weaker than multiple other characters that are considered by fans to have like peaked, and then they just became stronger because the writers wanted them to be. And people still go around saying, oh, Piccolo can't get any stronger, Gohan can't get any stronger, Krillin can't get any stronger. Oh, how did 17 go from being weaker than first form Cell to being able to fight Jiren? Oh, just special training. Special android genetics, even though we know that's not true because his sister got destroyed by Super Buu. And she apparently has the same setup or design. Yeah, it's the writer's decision, but they act like no, it's just it was foretold that Goku would be the only character who could increase to levels of power to defeat the main villain in the story ever. Except for that one time with Gohan, but we don't like to mention that. For real, people just putting anime stuff in real life, the creator can do whatever they want in the story. So yes, a character can get stronger at any time. Look what happened to Roshi. He was weaker than Yamcha, and now he was just recently in both the Tournament of Power and recruited by the Galactic Patrol. And they want to sit here and tell me about the limits that these characters have. It's like, no, the limit is if the writer wants them to be a certain level of strength or not. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if they give Roshi Ultra Instinct after the way he was fighting Jiren in the manga. I don't know why people try to like put these weird what's a good way of saying it? Locks on how strong somebody is in this story. It's just it's weird to me. No, they always want to justify something. Just like how if Toyotaro uses any pre-existing character, like any character that was made before Battle of Gods, that's not Goku or Vegeta, they say he's only using them for nostalgia. He can't just use the character because he likes them or might be thinking of something interesting with them. They call themselves fans of the show. I just don't understand them. They're like really trying so hard to not allow this series to be criticized. So they have to create these explanations that the show itself breaks. Like at one point we were led to believe androids couldn't get any stronger as a result of their unlimited energy, and just we didn't get to see any of them train. And then 17 is now magically able to fight Super Saiyan Blue. And we're supposed to just go, okay, well, that's one character that can do it. The rest of them can't. So I said this show is just really nuts. It's like the show and its fans that I just collectively am tired of. Like every time we get a new chapter of Super, I go, here comes the magazine that tells the same story over and over. And here come the fans in the comment section. Oh my God, I give this chapter 10 out of 10. Like in that last arc, we saw Goku fight the same character 3 times. And every fight is the same thing. Turns into random transformation. The villain is too strong. Turns into random transformation. The villain is too strong. They did that 3 times. We're like, oh my God, this is so engaging, and I'm wondering what's going to happen. I don't care. It's the same thing, just over and over again. Still, I do sympathize with Krillin, Yamcha, and Tien. Ostracized into the redundant character territory. It's the same thing with anyone that's not Goku and Vegeta. They did the same thing to Piccolo. They did the same thing to Gohan. That's what I always found funny about Gohan after the Buu saga. They don't know what to do with him. Because people already have been programmed. Saiyans can get stronger much faster than humans. So people just look at Roshi and Krillin like that's it for them. Yeah, but what I'm saying is that you've had characters who aren't Saiyans, like Frieza, like 17, who have gotten stronger, eons level of stronger than the last time we saw them, and people are still writing this stuff. And then what's worse is that you have this transformation with Ultra Instinct that is about, characters that aren't Saiyans being able to reach this pinnacle of power, and then you give it to a Saiyan when all the other transformations created up to that point were for Saiyans. And that's not redundant. Oh my God, they just made this new transformation that any character can achieve no matter what race they are. Let's give it to the one race that has like 11 forms already. That makes sense. I mean, does that make sense to you, Megumi? Or if you make a form that anybody can get, no matter what race they are you going to give it to the characters that have gotten form after form after form, courtesy of their race being Saiyans, or are you going to give it to the ones that have not had a form at all in the entire 30 plus years of this show running? Yeah, that would have been great. Imagine Ultra Instinct Piccolo versus Hit, and that's how Hit got eliminated. Like that was how Hit got eliminated, and that was how Piccolo first tapped into that. Because if you notice, Super does kind of treat Piccolo like a lot better than pretty much any of the Z fighters that aren't Goku or Vegeta. Like he's the only one who gets to fight in the Universe 6 tournament. And he's the only one from that tournament of power team that's not Frieza that shows up in the Broly movie. I guess Krillin also, but in the flashback. And he had multiple fights in the Moro arc. So they've been doing Piccolo a little bit better than they usually do. It's like him, Roshi, 17, and Frieza were like the only characters that got something worth a damn in that show, in Super. No, because before the Tournament of Power, if you were going to ask me which show treated Frieza better, GT or Super, I might have said GT because the Resurrection F saga was like it was. I just found it boring. And I did find like Frieza and Cell couldn't do anything to Goku and GT, but at least I liked seeing them interact with him. I think they forgot to animate a transformation other than a hair color change. Piccolo should have been the one to access God Ki, but no. The characters who never have had a form would be really interesting to see them get a form, honestly. Yeah. I mean, if this is going to be human Transformers, let's have everybody transform. I just can't believe people really like a show where it's the same 2 characters just traveling across everywhere. Like, just the whole rest of the cast sits at home. Let's let the same 2 people handle everything. And it's really one person handling everything because the other one is just there to be the sidekick. Like, somebody actually did a review where they made the case that because Super wants to use Vegeta, but it doesn't want to use the other characters, and it wants to also use Goku. It's actually turned him into his sidekick because he's always hanging out with him. They're always going places together. They don't do anything that's independent of each other besides maybe a little bit of training. It's like, wow. It's like the start of the Tournament of Power, like those first 20 something episodes where it was Goku and Gohan. They're like the only period in all of Super besides the movie retellings, the first, the Battle of Gods retelling, where it's not just Goku and Vegeta being butt buddies. So much possibilities for the cast to have enhanced abilities, moves, and character designs, etc. for each character. One can dream. Well, it's just there's this, for whatever reason, a weird hard-on that people have, and a strange animosity they have for using and powering up characters that aren't Goku and Vegeta. What if Yamcha fused with that wolf from the other universe? I mean, how about instead of that, we get a arc of Yamcha training with the wolves and learn all kind of other animal-based techniques? Yeah, I don't want a fusion because that like we don't even have interspecies fusions in the show. We just have Saiyans fusing with each other. Now he's gonna be too much like Kiba from Naruto, who's already voiced by Gohan, who already has the Yamcha haircut. That's like a running gag that like the character designs for Dragon Ball got so lazy that by the Buu saga, that like now everybody that's like not that doesn't have an iconic look just gets stuck with the Cell Saga Yamcha haircut. Like Gohan had it for the Buu saga, and like after that as well. Kaba has it. Vegeta's brother has it. They all have that same. You remember that, like, I forgot which, there's some movie where it says that the hairstyle that Goku has is the look for low class Saiyans, and like that's like the look for the low class fighters. They all have that same Yamcha Cell Saga look. Oh my god. I do need to watch your video. I'm surprised you didn't see it. I thought you would like it. I know you're a GT fan, so here's a pro GT video, and you're like, nah, whatever. It's just another day in the hood. I was really shocked you didn't go check that out. It is what it is. Yeah, it's really unfortunate that there are so many people who they just don't want. I don't know. Like, I go on the forums and they talk about the shows doing different stuff and evolving the characters, but I don't really see it. Like they were saying that in the Moro saga, because Vegeta wants to protect Namekians. Oh my God, this is such great character development. It's like, but by the Buu saga, we saw him repent for the bad things that he had done. So this isn't really something that Super is introducing. It's just showing us things that are nice for his character, but that were already established in Z. I tell you, it's like it. Sometimes it really does suck that Vegeta is as popular as he is because the writers don't even know what to do with him. Like they couldn't just have him go from wanting to get stronger to surpass Goku to just wanting to protect his family, who he was established to care about in the Buu saga. But they're like, oh no, let's regress him and make him want to chase behind Goku's backside forever. Gohan had a schoolboy haircut in Dragon Ball Super when Frieza came through. He was weak. I actually really like that look. Reminds me of his hair from when he was a kid, which was like it had its own spiky thing. So I didn't really mind it. I don't like the tracksuit because I think it's a weird design choice, but you know. I didn't mind it. I don't know why they can't just let him wear his Saiyaman outfit, like that green with the black pants. I don't know why they can't use that. I thought that was a really nice thing. Like it was his own unique design that served to further him as a character. Always in Goku's shadow, unfortunately. You say about a lot of characters. Vegeta gets absolutely finessed. Megumi, it's really funny because there's like a thing where I don't. If you ask me which show used Vegeta better, GT or Super, I actually would have to think about it because on the one hand, Super gives Vegeta more screen time, but on the other hand, Super also gives Vegeta more beatdowns and more second fiddle playing to Goku. Because really, the only time you see Vegeta do that, like be Goku's sidekick, is when they're fighting Super 17. And even then, it's like he still goes there by himself. So I would really have to think about it. I think Super might win just because it gives him more screen time. But even then, it's like the whole reason he got picked to be Baby's host body is because he was recognized as the strongest Saiyan on Earth that's not Goku. No, that's like I think the only characters Super used better were Roshi, because they do give him a couple of heartwarming things to do in that show, admittedly. 17, because in GT we only saw 17 hypnotized, so and that's kind of it. It's that's the two of them, and then Piccolo, and then that's about it. Because in GT, Piccolo just came back to get one-shotted and die. I think he's in like 4 or 5 episodes of that whole show. Instead, Gohan is a wimp. Yep. And it's crazy too, because there are fans who actually will get mad at you for wanting him to be a fighter. Like, why can't Gohan just live peacefully with his family? It's like, this character has a family that he wants to protect, and his bright idea is to, instead of furthering his power, which he knows is more immense than most people around him, as shown by the Saiyan to Cell sagas and I guess Buu saga as well, he's just going to sit in his little office and let his dad and his dad's friend save the world over and over again while he sits playing with his glasses. Like, wouldn't that make for an interesting character? Somebody that doesn't like to fight, but will do whatever is necessary to protect their family. And they have like this moral conflict about recognizing the selfishness of their wanting to fight, and then also, of their not wanting to fight, but then also, the selfishness of wanting to protect their family that makes them, go past their initial biases towards fighting. Also, since King Vegeta dead, that would make Vegeta a king. Well, I've been told that because he didn't get coronated, that's why he doesn't call himself king. Poor Piccolo and what happened to him in GT. Like, damn, let me test my new power I got from Gohan's body on this inferior being. Well, it's like the crazy part to me is that's his first scene in that show. It's to show up, save Goten from getting destroyed, and then get blown away. And then we don't even see him for the entire rest of the Baby Saga until he sacrificed himself to save the Earth. Like, you can't get any attachment to that character because he has less than 5 minutes of screen time in that whole damn arc. That's one of the worst handlings I've ever seen of a character in a show. You're gonna show up to get insulted, then one-shotted, then sacrificed. Jesus Christ. The only cool thing about Piccolo in GT was him like being in hell because he did help Goku get to Super 17. But again, I would have liked to have seen him fight him. And I even had this idea: why couldn't they have had Piccolo merge with King Piccolo and then have him fight Super 17? So it'd be 2 Piccolos versus 2 17s. But no, instead he gets to open up a portal. They did the same thing to Krillin too, where it's like the first time we see him, he's possessed by Baby, and then the second time we see him, he's at what was that? Like a tournament? The tournament episode where Goku lost because he like wasn't looking or something. I actually really liked the episode, but it's like the only time we see him before him and 18 get confronted by Super 17 and then he gets killed. Just to get brought back later on and have like 1 minute of screen time in the last episode. And then let's not forget what they did to Yamcha and Tien, who don't even get to speak in that whole damn show. Oh my god. Now we need to do like a list of the top 10 characters GT treated like trash. Because Piccolo be right at the top of it. That was crazy. It's like, oh, he has plot importance. Yeah, but he has no screen time. Like, I can't get in my investment in that character is from another damn show. Which again is fine if you're going to do something new with him that doesn't involve killing them off. But if you do, I'd like to see him more than once and more than for like 10 seconds. Jesus. Supercell would be cool. Oh yeah, I said before they should bring back Cell. I just think they'll screw it up because they'll just. I mean, like the way they act, I just picture it being another Goku and Vegeta must power up to fight this new form. Blah blah blah. It's just going to be Resurrection F, but with a C. Like they're gonna have Cell in this one little spot, and then the two of them show up, and then he does something slick, and then it's. I think they'll screw it up, but I'll write out an idea. Like I had some ideas of how I'd like to see it done. They bring people back with the Dragon Balls just to sub them in back and never to be seen again. It's like they want to use that character again, which is why they resurrect them, but they don't know what to do with them. That reminds me of Beast Wars, how for that show, which was it was to sell toys. That was one of the purposes of the show. They killed off two of the villains at the start of season 2. And as they're dying, you can see their hands glowing because they're getting like hit by this thing that gives them new forms for new toys. And that was purposely done by the writers. So if they wanted to bring them back, they would bring them back with the new forms that they were getting as they were dying. That was really slick. I remember Pilaf more than Piccolo and GT. Like I said, Super is a show that wastes most of its characters, but I do think it treated Piccolo twice as good as GT did. Yeah, I watched all the Transformer shows. Armada, Energon, Cybertron, Animated Prime. I didn't stop until Robots in Disguise because I was really irritated by the fact that they considered Prime to be too serious for children, since that show came out when I was a kid, and I didn't get scared or any stupid stuff like that. So I got annoyed and left. But you remember Zeo? What was it? It was Pterosaur and Scorponok that died, and like as they're dying, you see their hands glowing. Yeah, Rodimus is like Gohan. Except Gohan actually was a major character for a big portion of the story before getting, thrown into the back burner. Rodimus just showed up in the movie and became the leader after getting the other leader killed by being an idiot. Yeah, it's really sad that people like I don't, maybe I'm crazy, but I don't know how you can create characters and then just unceremoniously kill them off, like whatever. Because like I would think after years of writing a character, you feel some kind of attachment. And a lot of these manga people, they just say whatever. Like with the Boo Saga when they kill off the whole cast by having Super Boo eat them off panel, because him eating them is only a thing that shows up in the show. It's filler. I don't know how you can be Toriyama and have created, Roshi, Krillin, all these other people 10 years ago, have killed them off before and be like, yeah, let me do this again to make this villain more threatening. No, that was awful. That's a big part of the reason why I always say that I just think the Buu Saga is the start of the Dragon Ball decline. Because that's really the first time you got a numbered Super Saiyan transformation that didn't do jack. Like, I love the way Super Saiyan 3 looks, but it's really ambiguous as to whether it can beat Kid Buu. We know it's sure as hell couldn't beat Super Buu. And when it could have killed Fat Buu, it was just, used to play with. Think about Megumi. A lot of the like the fusion started there. And fusions are literally just like I'm sure you like the way Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta looks, but you know that was just a waste of time because he didn't even kill Omega Shenron. That's really the first time I've seen people complain about the roles of characters in arcs before. Like, a lot of people get pissed at the fact that we spent all that time with Gohan training and with Gotenks becoming a thing just for them to not end up even beating the main villain or participating in that, other than doing this along with everybody else. Like, a lot of people will complain that Tien and Yamcha didn't get used in Z, that like as often as they would have liked, but they'll still admit that Z didn't set them up to be the one that was going to be the villain like it did with Gotenks or Gohan. Super Saiyan 4 should have been the end of the Super Saiyan transfer. It was in GT. And then they just decided, that's another problem I have with Super. It makes all these forms and then it just throws them away. Like, when God came out, all of us liked it. I'm not saying it was unanimously liked, but it was seen as a breath of fresh air because it was the first new form in like 20 years. And then they gave us a new one, the blue form, or Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, the tongue twister title that is, 2 years later. And we're like, okay, well, can we kind of not get any more forms? You just gave us one. You've only given it to one of the Saiyans, so it's brand new. And now you're going to throw it in the trash can for another recolor. Because God actually, I sometimes forget, it did try to be a little bit like 4 in terms of making the person look different with the skinnier body and the, like becoming taller. But Blue is literally just Super Saiyan recolored, and people were fine with it. Before other transformations, I always thought of Super Saiyan 3 as the power wall without other gimmicks. Like, you need a tail to transform into Super Saiyan 4. Well, again, the reason I like the first one, the second one, the third one, the fourth one is because the third one and the fourth one recognize that the second one doesn't look any different from the first one other than on Teen Gohan. So they tried to experiment and make it look different. And, I think both of them work, visually. It's just really sad to me they keep making these forms just to do nothing with them. Like, oh my God, Super Saiyan God, or was it Super Saiyan Rose? Oh, look at this new cool form that is just a pink recolor of Super Saiyan being used by this villain. I can't wait to learn how he got it. Oh, we never do. All right. That form dies with him. Same thing with the golden form. We don't know how, like, they just make these transformations and throw them in the trash. Hell, actually, you know what? The golden form has been respected because they kept it around for the Tournament of Power. So you've seen Frieza use it as his ultimate form for more than one arc. You didn't see him say, "Oh, look at me in my golden form of Resurrection F," and then in Resurrection F2, now I'm Platinum Frieza. So they have used the golden form in a decent manner. Doesn't Super Saiyan 2 is like the first, but with just the electricity around the Saiyan? Well, Goku's hair does look slightly, the bangs change up a little bit, but it just has lightning on it. And for Vegeta, there is no difference other than lightning. Lighter blonde hair. That reminds me when I was in class and this we had to do some assignment where I had an art class when I was in high school, and we had to do this assignment where the teacher wanted us to use 30 colors, and one of the students said, "Can I use dark black?" And all of us started laughing. So when you say lighter blonde, what? So somebody just sent me a message, and it says, "This is in regards to how Vegeta cannot surpass Goku." And this person says he could if the writers gave him screen time. Well, hell, they already made him the most recurring character in Super besides Goku. What does that even mean? I'm gonna write this back to this person. Like, I actually went through and counted one day. Vegeta appears in Super more than any other character besides Goku, and then it's Beerus and Whis, and then I think after that it's like uh, Piccolo and Krillin. That is crazy. And I know in the manga Vegeta appears more than anybody that's not Goku. I know that. It's like bleached blonde. Well, let me plug this back in here. I thought for okay, Super Saiyan 4 is actually proven to be the strongest Super Saiyan form Goku had in Z and GT because he was easily strong enough to shrug off Shenron's strongest attack and deal back damage tenfold. That's why I said that it was treated like the ultimate form. It was a cap, and they just made villains that were around the same level of strength to where you could realistically believe that in that form he could do anything. Whereas in Super, a new form is literally in every arc. Like they they literally introduced God to have it be in like just like not used at all between Battle of Gods and the Tournament of Power, and then after that they just they use it in the moral arc, and like it's just I don't understand them at all. That's why I say these transformations are starting to feel like just goofy toys now. Because one of the things I liked about Super Saiyan 3 was that it had a drawback. You're like, oh, it's taking too much power. Because that meant you had to finish the villain off quickly. It added some stakes. With the rest of them, they're just, oh, my hair changed and I'm now stronger. I don't know how much. We'll see how powerful this villain is, but I'm now stronger. Well, I said that in the video, Megumi. So you don't have to tell me. Don't preach to the choir. No, there. It's sad that this is the state of this show. Krillin Kung Fu Master, now a mall cop. Yeah, I don't know who thought that was a good idea. They made it seem like Super Saiyan 4 was the ultimate form, but it would have made sense from a writing perspective because it's Goku fully embracing his primal Saiyan nature. Yeah, I think it's sad that we went from having a form that was respected throughout the entirety of the show that it appeared in to now having a bunch of transformations that get like Ultra Instinct already is getting just used to be like garbage. Like remember they said that for that form you need to be calm and patient, and then somebody else pointed this out in the Moro arc when Moro starts using it. He's screaming and angry. Like what the hell? Like you just made this form a couple of years ago and you already can't stick to your own continuity. Like the whole point of that form is you're calm, you're just dodging all these attacks, and then when Moro's using it, that's how you know the writers don't even care about their own crap. Oh my god. For somebody to use Ultra Instinct, they have to have a calm mind and be focused. Yeah, it's a mess. It's like they wanted this damn goat to have this form so badly. Because Toyotaro likes his new character he made so much that he said to hell with the form we made a few years ago. Let's let somebody use it that doesn't make any sense to be using it. The Moro was acting like Leatherface while he's using this form that's supposed to be about being calm. Oh my god. This show is a joke. Him using that form that's supposed to be someone being calm, like while he's acting crazy, is like having someone drive a car but like with no tires. Like remember the Flintstones car where they're running? That's what that is. For Megumi to use this form, he has to be calm and patient and relaxed and focused. And the more what the hell was that? And the thing is, I didn't notice that because I was like, all right, whatever. They gave the goat the greatest form according to these fans, and no one was pointing that out. That they literally broke their own goddamn form on a stupid villain that absorbs powers from people. For crying out loud, Super Saiyan 4 is proved to be strong enough to fight. Well, you know what? Here's my thing with Broly. The original Broly, people used to say, who would win in a fight? Legendary Super Saiyan Broly or Super Saiyan 3 Goku? And then it's like Super Saiyan 2 Gohan from the Cell Saga could destroy Broly. Like, I just thought it was funny. People kept trying to make it seem like Legendary Super Saiyan was like, I really don't think it's that much stronger than the, that buffed up form that Trunks had against Cell? Like, they really made that thing sound like it was just so amazingly strong and just, I would be really surprised if that would even hurt any form of Buu. Also, Roshi does not have a calm mind if there's a hot girl around. At least if they gave it to Roshi and they stick him against some male villain, I can buy it. Because Roshi's a really nuanced character as far as like he has a distinct personality. And if the conditions are not met for him to be uncalm with the chick, he'll actually use his powers. That's why I really hate that people keep trying to push this thing of, oh, let's use Goten and Trunks and Pan and all these other people that don't have a damn personality. The only time Trunks had a personality that was like actually bearable was GT. And then that show got rid of him not even halfway through. Think about it, Trunks went from being one of the three main characters of GT to by the time they got on Earth, he was just one of the boys. he got possessed by Baby. Then he got one-shotted by Super 17. Then he didn't even get invited to fight any of the Shadow Dragons until the last one. Like, I literally forgot he was a main character in that show when I was rewatching it, and I got to those, the arcs that have Super Saiyan 4 in it. That's crazy. Hell, and even the guys who make the games know that version of Trunks didn't matter to the people making GT, because if you play any of the games before Xenoverse, they don't have GT Trunks. They use future Trunks for Trunks from GT. That's crazy. A dog Gohan by himself with his Super Saiyan 2 transformation could have bodied Broly, but the writers of the show love to change a character's power level in order to fit the plot. Yeah. Damn, another victim who the writers finessed. The writers screw over everybody. They really do make me want to make my own Dragon Ball show. Like, if I did one, there would be no transformations. It would be a different character beating the main villain every season, so you're always trying to figure out who it's going to be. I would rather watch that than what is actually being made. Trunks has 7 personalities. Well, that's because they just don't do anything with him. Like everybody knows Future Trunks is the one people love, and that his main timeline version is a poor man's version of that character. Same thing with Goten. He's just a poor man's version of Goku. The only time they tried to do something interesting with Goten was in GT, where again they barely used him other than to have him get possessed by the only time in that whole show where he was like a character that was getting focused on was right before he got possessed by Baby. So like he spends most of his screen time being focused on being possessed by some other character. He's cocky as a kid, but as a teenager, he's not. Maybe he grew up. No, when people are like talking about GT, it's hilarious. Because there's like my problem with that show is always the way they used characters that weren't Goku, Pan, or Baby. And like these people just go, well, they turned Goku into a kid. Like, I don't care if they turned him into a literal fetus. I'm talking about a show that, just like the one that people are saying is so much better, didn't use the rest of the cast as much as I would like. Now they drive me crazy with that. I don't know. It just seems like the thing people do with a sequel to Z is just focus on the same character that we've already seen, get focused on arc after arc, season after season, and make him eons stronger than everybody else to just keep creating this enormous gap of strength between him and the rest of the characters. Don't even seem real anymore. Like if I did a Dragon Ball show, Goku would not be in it. I would have it set in that year between when the Frieza saga happened and when Trunks comes and warns them about the androids. You would not see him at all, except maybe in like a flashback. Yeah, riding the Goku train. Saiyans don't grow up. No, not at all. They just love to focus on the same character over and over. And they don't even do anything new or interesting. Like, imagine if they had an arc where Goku actually apologized to his wife and tried to just stay, like, to be around more, and like that was conflicting with him fighting a villain. Like, and it was like the arc would prove that he actually does care about his wife for all that she has done for him. Wouldn't that be something new that they've done with a pre-existing character? Wouldn't that flesh him out in a particular way that we haven't seen before? But literally every arc is new villain shows up, Goku must train to get stronger. Like they completely erase his relationships with any pre-existing character. And then they're surprised when people think it's redundant. It's the same thing over and over again. Same thing with Vegeta. Wouldn't it have been cool if instead of having him be Goku's sidekick, they have him like actually wanting to do things with Trunks? Like, because remember with Z that like Goku was barely around Gohan. It was mostly him with Piccolo or Krillin. Wouldn't it be interesting if Vegeta's whole character arc is training his son, and like everywhere he goes, his son goes, and like protecting him and making sure he can learn all the things that he knows. And it would show his pride and his confidence in his child. Now he has moved on from being obsessed with only his own power. Wouldn't that have been way more interesting than what we got, where you barely see Kid Trunks? He's not fleshed out. He's not used. Wouldn't that have been more interesting? So you can do interesting things with characters that have been around for a long time, but they just won't do it. I'd start with Goku being too old to see that's my thing. That like you can have him be in the story without it being because like in the Buu saga, I didn't really have a problem with his role there, other than all the way at the end when they resort to it being him and Vegeta taking out Kid Buu. Like it really seemed like they were pushing Goten and Trunks to beat Buu with him and Piccolo as mentors, and then they just derailed themselves. If it makes too much sense, it can't happen. Yeah. Well, that's because they have this weird embargo about using other characters. Like they for some damn reason, if you're not Goku, Vegeta, Future Trunks, or maybe Frieza or 17, you can get used for maybe like an episode or two, and then you just get pushed back to the wayside. No, the reason these stories don't happen is because they would require them to treat other characters with the same level of importance as they are with Goku and Vegeta. Like instead of having Kid Trunks disappear for 20 or 30 episodes, they would actually use him in damn near all of them if they did what I said. And they'd have to make Vegeta not be Goku's sidekick because he would actually be spending time with his child and trying to make sure that his kid, who he's confident in the abilities of, becomes a stronger fighter to protect other people and to carry on this thing of using your powers to defend those that cannot defend themselves. And that would require Trunks to be a separate character from Goten instead of being butt buddies. Jesus Christ. I don't know what's wrong with these writers. Like they can do so many interesting things with the characters they already have, but they just keep introducing new ones. And like I kept telling the fans that if they treat the older characters badly, they're gonna treat the newer ones even worse. Like I was completely not surprised by what they did to Hit, where they have him like as the supposed main antagonist of the Universe 6 tournament, and then he disappears for the rest of Super until the except for that little, 2-episode assassination crap. And then in the tournament, he gets like 2-3 fights and then gets thrown out to make Jiren look stronger. Like that's not surprising at all, because if they treat the older characters that people are already invested in from the prior shows like trash, they're going to treat the newer ones even worse. Yeah, I just think Super didn't really know what to do with itself. Like you could tell that show wasn't planned out, and that's a big reason I don't like a lot of this modern Dragon Ball stuff, because it just seems like random events are occurring and no one is actually trying to tell some ongoing, continuous story that builds upon prior episodes or installments. So it's very unfortunate. I will say they have been correcting themselves. Like the tournament, ties into the Universe 6 tournament. And then, the Moro stuff ties into, so they've been changing it up a little bit, but I still think it's the same old stuff. Man, who cares? Whoever is the strongest is the best character. Well, hell, I don't know anybody that thinks that like would do a top 10 Dragon Ball characters and put Zeno in there. That was another thing I talked about, where like people were so excited about the not the comic Dragon Ball multiverse, but the like multiverse in Super. And I was like, listen, a lot of those characters look cool, but they're not going to explore them. They're going to do the same thing to them that they did to the ones in Universe 6 tournament. You're going to have a lot of cool looking characters, interesting abilities, and then you're not going to see them do anything with them. And that's been the case. It's been a whole arc in 2 years since it's going on 3 years since the Tournament of Power ended. You have not seen a single character that was not from Universe 7 shown in anything that's come out since that's not a video game or a cameo in the Broly movie. Very noticeable at the beginning with Purple Vegeta clone and Arale. Oh, I like the Arale episode. That was hilarious. Because a lot of people, they don't bother with Dr. Slump. It's funny how many people just say, oh, I love Toriyama. He's such an amazing genius writer, artist. And then you don't even check out his works. That's like me saying I love Stan Lee, but then I don't read any of the Fantastic Four that he wrote or the first, what was it, 110 issues of Amazing Spider-Man. Like, you love this person, but you won't check out the thing that they did for years. How does that work? So somebody explain that to me. Where you love some creator. Imagine if I said somebody was my favorite actor, and they're in 100 movies, and I've only seen like 3 of them. No, Megumi, if you're a fan of something, wouldn't you want to see most, or if not all, of what it is? I'm not saying you have to have some enormous collection because we all have our, limits on how much we can support something. But I just think it's crazy that you have so many people who, in a heartbeat, will claim they like something, but then not support it or be knowledgeable about it. I know some people who like Naruto, and after part one, they just they caught up to the rest of the story by reading the manga. Personally, I really, it was always hard for me to be into that show as much as other people because I just hate the character of Sasuke. Like, I even one time, I think I did a video talking about how bad he was. Like, I think he's the worst fictional character ever created out of any of them in anything. Just very unredeeming. And even characters that you would call annoying or like don't really add anything to the story, they don't suck up the level of screen time or plot importance as him. So because of my distaste for that character, I tend to not be as interested in that series as it progressed. And I remember when Boruto came out, I was like, okay, they're finally going to make Naruto stories about Sasuke. Thank God. And then, nope, they have him as Boruto's mentor. Like, go away! Just stay away. This show is called Naruto, not Sasuke. Why is he in every damn thing? Like, Jesus Christ. Because Vegeta can get irritating, but he's at least got redeeming qualities. And I recognize that they're writing a lot of characters like trash now. But just from the time that black-haired, blue shirt-wearing clown showed up on panel, I'm sick of it. I am a huge fan of the Fantastic Four franchise, of the Final Fantasy franchise. See, when you say FF, I got it confused. And own most of the games and some OSTs for it, for example. But there are too many people who claim they are fans but don't support much what or who they are, who they say they like. Yeah, it's the craziest thing in the world to me. But I'm very serious when I tell you I've never seen any other fan base that like deliberately goes out of its way to not engage with the materials of its franchise. So, for example, I know a lot of people that like Spider-Man who only didn't read the earlier comics because they didn't have access to them. Like the Marvel Masterwork series cost like $70 for like 10 issues and stupid stuff like that. But they went online and read them, and you can believe from the fact that when they found out they could read them and actually went and read them, that they do care about the character and want to, experience the works that he's in. Hold on a second, somebody's calling me. Call them back. No, I just think it's really sad because even like with Star Wars fans, where they all are like fractured in terms of which ones they like out of the films, they all they've at least seen all of them. Somebody drew a picture of Sephiroth with Kirby, and Sephiroth was wearing some pink, and it was just like a really well drawn, funny picture. So I sent it to somebody. This is the only franchise I've ever seen where it's like a normal thing. Because really, you don't see any Naruto fans who've never seen the first one or part one. Where do they do that at? Where they just are like, nah, forget the original show. Hell, there are no Avatar fans that have that only saw Korra or saw that, you know, and then didn't try to watch The Last Airbender. Dragon Ball is the only series where the fans are this way. Like, to hell with that. I'm gonna ignore this whole first part of this series. This whole, what was it, like 16 volumes? The original Dragon Ball was what? I know the original manga was 42 volumes, but part one, or the original before Z started, was either 16 or 17 volumes, and they're like, nah, we're not going to see any of that. I just think that is insane. And look, some people can't support stuff financially, but they don't even know the story. Like, I don't get them at all. Whatever. I'm on my tangent. But like every fandom I know of, they've watched the stuff they like. They've seen it. Dragon Ball is the only one where, like, instead of people talking about the sort, like comic fans will talk about comics, Dragon Ball fans will talk more about video games than the damn show. Hey, I'm a DB fan. Doesn't watch the original DBZ, GT, only Super. Yeah, Naruto fans ignore Boruto after giving it a chance, after trying to watch it, but they still have seen the original. No, Megumi, there's a lot of people who, if they've seen Z, they've seen Kai, which cuts out a lot of stuff, and I don't think it's a good substitute for the original. Again, because Z is not that damn long compared to other animes. But you know, whatever. And then a lot of them haven't seen, if they've seen Z at all, the show in over 10 years. Like you'll be surprised by how many people I'll ask, when's the last time you watched, you sat down and watched Dragon Ball? Like 2008 or 7 or 6 or 5 or 4. That's actually one of the reasons why I watched Legend of Korra, because I like The Last Air. Yeah, The Last Airbender got all kind of awards. I told you The Last Airbender, the reason Korra exists is because the third season of The Last Airbender was supposed to be 2 seasons. And then Nickelodeon's stupid self said, nah, you only get 1 more. You got to tie everything up. So then after the third season or series finale got great views, Nickelodeon ordered 12 more episodes at the last minute. And they were like, hey, guys, we wrapped up the story. What the hell? And again, Korra wasn't written with the same structure as The Last Airbender. Like each season was written like it was its own damn show. Because they knew from the time they started The Last Airbender how they wanted it to end. And of course, they changed stuff, you know, here and there, but they knew ending would be fighting the Fire Lord with Korra. That first season was intended to be its own standalone show. And if they got other seasons, that was just stuff they had to keep coming up with. It's only usually the other way around. I only watch the old episodes. Okay, what I'm talking about is like Dragon Ball fans, the only people I've seen where they skip the original stuff. Like they'll ignore the original show just for the hell of it. No, I saw a lot of fans that try. I remember when the Boruto manga came out and we got that first page of what's that guy's name? Kawaki or some, it's some K-A thing, and he was like, "I have destroyed the Leaf Village," ha 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 ha. And Boruto was fighting. I was like, "Oh man, what's gonna happen?" I'm so excited, and then you read the next few pages, and it's just a movie retelling. I'm like, okay, bye. I've never seen my excitement for something just in one episode, like one installment, like one chapter of something, just make it just drop down away. That was a really slick thing they did there. Last Airbender is the best American-made animated series, in my opinion. I really like it. Um, I do hate the fact that the sequel show, is a sequel in pretty much name only, and that it doesn't. I don't think is as good. But again, you can say that's because they didn't plan it out as much. It just has some elements that I don't think work as well. No, Nickelodeon are pricks. Sorry, guys, you're not going to get your season 4. Then season 3 ends. Oh, here's 12 more episodes. So if Nickelodeon hadn't have done that, we might have never gotten Korra. They accidentally spawned this other show. Like, oops. Just to sort of switch topics. That's kind of how the chick stuff is too. Like, if you didn't get turned down by one broad, you wouldn't have spoke to the broad after that, or the broad after that, or they just keep leading you to speak to another woman and getting the same result, and then being caught up in this never-ending, years-long maze. Same thing happening over and over again like that. So they like one thing leads to another just completely by accident. Because if I was being nice, I could say that when you get turned down by a woman, like I'm sure she doesn't predict that this is just going to be your fate for years because of her decision, but then it ends up being that way because they all do the same thing. At least as far as you're concerned. And my chat died again. I see Megumi went back to sleep in the UK. He did say it was the evening, so he put on his night goggles. It's how the Twilight Zone operates. No, Megumi, I'm gonna do a whole video because I got all these screenshots of stuff in my email where I'm gonna show all the nasty stuff that's been said about me. Because again, I'm not using hyperbole when I say I've been attacked for everything. And it's gonna prove that whenever you get criticized online for the way you look, it is a waste of time to actually listen to people like that because they will always have a problem with you over something. So I've got the screenshots of people insulting me over wearing glasses. My one of my favorite comments I've seen so far is when this one guy was like, trying to get with the woman is like a job interview. Take off those glasses and wear contacts. Like, so you really are trying to tell me you're trying to compare getting with the woman to a job interview and acting as if people don't wear glasses at work. Like in offices, nobody wears glasses when they're like reading something or operating a vehicle. Like, really? But it's crazy that people like they make comparisons like that and then they don't think about the certain what's the way of saying it? The fact that there are proven positions that people have that they wear glasses in. Oh, they will say anything. And that's the point of the video. Imagine getting attacked over wearing a necklace. And it's like, that's a nitpick, right? Because you know damn well there is no woman you've ever been looked at and be like, well, I think she looks nice, but she's wearing a necklace I don't like, so that's a turn off. Like, you've never seen a woman you thought was ugly because she was wearing a necklace. I guarantee you that's never happened to you. Where like there's some woman you think is beautiful and then she's got a necklace. Oh my god, I gotta walk away. Just like I remember for that bird brain guy that was in that video, I'm gonna like when I always remember him because he was one of the few people that tried to address my points instead of talking about the way I looked. And he was responding to, I told this story of how when I was, this is like 3 years ago, like late 2017, there was a woman who came on my channel and who I spoke to for like a week or whatever. And because of her religion and the fact that her religion doesn't allow her to go on a date, I asked to marry her. She said yes. And then about a week later, she reneged after getting into an argument with her mother. And so this person's response to that was to say, oh, you show too much interest. And I'm like, you know damn well, if it came out on this website that I agreed to marry a woman, and then after a couple of days I reneged, I would have been hung. I would have been told I was not committed. I would have been told I was flaky, lacked empathy for her proclamation of liking me. It would have been a never-ending maze of just being insulted and held to task for doing that to somebody. But again, when a woman does it, no consequence. You show too much interest. How the hell do you know? What does that even mean? Hey, Megumi, do you remember in the Cell Saga when we find out that they had that Jiro had a little bug, that like a robot bug that was following Goku everywhere he went between the Red Ribbon Saga to the Saiyan Saga, and that's how the androids knew about his moves? You remember that? That's literally how these guys online act. Like they've had this little bug just following you around, and they know everything that happened when they weren't there because of that. Verbal crucifix. Megumi, imagine if it came out that I had agreed to marry a woman and then reneged. I would have been, people would have had me on the cross. Just like this. I wouldn't have been able to do one stream without having somebody go, a woman agreed to marry him and he said no, a woman agreed to marry him and he said no, a woman agreed to marry him and he said no, a woman agreed to marry him and he said no. It would have never ended. That would have been the biggest scandal since Watergate if I did that. But when it's done to me, well, you show too much interest. Well, apparently it wasn't too much if she agreed to do it. That is crazy. The double standards on this website are really insane. Just like what was another instance of like people just, I really should do a video called like defending the indefensible, where people just make excuses for chicks over stuff that just is ridiculous behavior. Like if anybody did it, it would be ridiculous. Because like I said, I don't blindly support men if they do something stupid. That's not my job. I don't feel a connection with you because of the weight of your gender. Do you remember, Megumi, did I tell you about when I had the woman who said on Reddit, I will only speak to you by text? Because I was talking about how I've never met somebody who I felt a connection with that I only ever spoke through typing stuff to. And I told Triple L about it, and she was like, I think she meant that she wasn't ready to speak to you by phone yet. I had to go in my goddamn Reddit inbox and show where this woman said in black and white text on that website, I will not speak to you if you do not only speak to me by text. But like, think about that. She's so, Triple L, so desperate to defend a woman she's never met before that she has to alter what the bimbo said to make it make sense. I used Tinder for like 1 week and then I was done with that website. It's like, how many chicks am I going to swipe, what is it, right on over and over and just hear nothing back from? The hell with that. No, I'm cool. I don't need to bother with the one-sided affair such as that. No, that is insane. Every time she really went out of her way to defend her. Like, but see, that didn't work because I confronted her about it and I said, here's what she wrote. And I wish you could have heard it. She tried to change the topic so quickly. Because it's like, it's almost if they know that they're just doing this to be as antagonistic as possible. And like I said, I can't empathize with it because I don't do this for other men. Like if a woman says, "Oh, this man did this to me," I usually believe it because like I don't have a weird I don't know, banana protection doctrine that tells me that if a man is accused of doing something, I must take up for his side just because that person is male. I think it's crazy. Like I really do give people the benefit of the doubt when they describe their own romantic experiences, but you don't get it in return because the world is unfair. Nah, that would be a good video defending the indefensible. I appreciate the contribution, by the way. I didn't say anything at first. Mr. Burton. I don't know how to pronounce your first name, so I'll call you by your last name. Exactly. I like the way you put it. This kind of thing happens too often. And it's really sad because like the main reason I get annoyed by this like physical appearance discussion is because I spend very little time actually talking about the way that chicks look because it doesn't have anything to do with their behavior. So for someone to, instead of addressing the points being made, sit there and whine about the way this one particular man looks, I don't see how that adds anything to the conversation. It's kind of like if Megumi made a video talking about how the modern Dragon Ball stories are lame, and then I start whining about some poster he has on the wall. Like it's irrelevant. It doesn't address any of the points being made, and it doesn't add anything to the conversation. And that's unfortunately been a lot of the negative reception towards me. It's just people writing stuff that doesn't actually address the points being made. Like when I had Triple L talk about how, that, like, it's blasphemy to be 20 and complain about a stagnant love life. And I'm like, ma'am, I don't know what kind of like backward society you want to live in, but every single male relative I have that's of direct lineage to me, by the time they were 20, had been with somebody. Like my father, by the time he was my age, I was born. By the time my grandfather was 21, he met my grandmother, who he would be with for the rest of his life. And by the time my great grandfather was 25, he had been married. So like I don't know where people get this idea that a man who's had years of ridiculous stuff from chicks would not feel as if they have had their time wasted by these people, or that it's this fruitless task that's gone on for too long. Yeah, blanket statements. But like I said, I know reality and that the stuff they're writing to me isn't true. When I see someone like the dingbat with the baby, for example, meet a man who does all this stuff for her, I'm not really convinced that you have to be a certain age. Like me and that person are the same age. We're a couple of months apart. And I'm supposed to believe that, oh yeah, this person who never signed up for any dating website, she gets to have a family, but you have to wait 10 years so that one broad might maybe like you. But see, I always bring her up because she is like the perfect example. Because Megumi, if you notice, they always criticize you, and they always try to make it seem like getting with a woman is going to be the beginning of happily ever after. And that guy got with the dingbat with the baby, and he lost money. He got put in jail. He got cheated on. It's like, yeah, that's your happy ending. You get with this woman, and then she uses you for everything you've got, curses you out, cheats on you, puts you in prison, and that's who I'm supposed to aspire to want to be with. and like the way she treats him is completely it fits in with the way they like talk to you. Like when they tell you that you need to have all this money, they're not saying that because, I don't know, it's been proven that men with more money have happier relationships, because the guy seemed miserable. No, they really try to gas you up with this stuff, do all these things, and this perfect woman shows up that likes you for who you are, even though we're telling you to do all this stuff that is not who you are. And I even said, if the best I can get with is a woman who wants to take me for everything I have, she can go to hell. Like, who would want to be around someone like that? I'd like someone to explain that to me. What is appealing about that? Oh, I haven't seen Music Fiend since before the election. We put him on suicide watch because we know he was a big fan of our president. But I got a special video for that day coming out. I got to put in my editor tonight. Now, Megumi, would you rather be by yourself or be with the woman who you have to pay for the storage unit of after she makes herself homeless, who wants you to father a child neither one of you can take care of, who you suspect of cheating on you, and who curses you out as you're paying for her crap? Like, would you want that? And it's like, when you bring it up, you always have to preface it by saying that you don't think all chicks are that way, but it goes against this idea that once you get with a woman, it's, happily ever after. It goes against this idea that because some woman said, "Oh, I like you back," and went on the date, you're not going to have any further problems with that person. That's why she gets brought up as often as she does. Because again, what they're selling you about chicks and what that guy has actually received from one are two completely different things. Like, they never tell you what the woman's going to do for you. It's always what you can do for her. Because I don't see anything she's done for him other than give him some triangle. I just think it's really sad that that's what people are trying to get men to want to be with and accept. Like, imagine if you told a woman that if she wants to get with you, she has to pay thousands of dollars for you to keep your clothes in one room, at the same time as you're cursing her out, and she suspects you of cheating on her. Yeah, I know it doesn't fit the narrative that most people just keep boasting about, so they make up excuses constantly. Well, because they want to sell to you this idea that once this magic woman shows up, she's going to like you for who you are, and you're going to live happily ever after. And that's why to watch in real life a guy get with a woman and I guess arguably be with her for years, but then continuously be hit with new things that are just very aggravating from an objective standpoint. It's nice to know that at least you're seeing a real life relationship play out, and it's not the happily ever after these people have talked about. But again, it's all segmented in what they talk about at the same time, because they asked the guy to have all this money and the woman owns nothing, so it's only natural that she would start begging him to do all this stuff, and then he gets nothing out of it except getting screwed, which, I mean, he could just pay a prostitute to do that and save money. But since the woman is, according to these people online, perfect in her own way, she can get away with doing nothing to satisfy this person other than being in the bed doing that, and it'll be considered a fair trade. Like, it's all goes with this idea that you as the man are subservient to the woman and have to appeal to her in every conceivable way while she does nothing other than lay down for you to want to acquiesce to her petulance. No, they really do have a nice little narrative. But see, that's why I said that that appearance talk is a waste of time, because Megumi, you could literally own. Oh, there's somebody else coming. Just to finish this up right here, you could literally have the 6-pack, the money, and then you'll have guys online say, "Oh, you're ugly." It already is legal in Nevada. That's why I said I don't get why people make getting screwed such a big deal. You just imagine living next to a state where you can have sex legally with somebody, and then they're like, "Oh my God, this is why men are so angry." It's like, well, maybe they just want a partner and somebody that they like if they can get screwed legally for a price in a certain state. As Megumi, do you have anything left to say? Because we can wrap this up. We had our Dragon Ball discussion. If you find someone that's good to you, do you think you'll still want children? I'd have to be convinced that person is not going to do what I have seen from relationships in real life. So if you're going to father a child with a broad who's not going to do anything other than pop it out, you know. I mean, if you're talking about the last one I had, she very much did. I was shocked to see how quickly she went from being this understanding character to being the single biggest gold digger in U.S. history. It was quite an accomplishment. Like I told her she should be an actress. Imagine knowing somebody and every time you see them, they ask you how you're doing, and they're trying to like seemingly make sure you're okay. And then after you agree to be their boyfriend, hey, can you give me some money? Can you buy me this? Can you buy me that? Can you buy me this? It's like, nah, to hell with that. Hey, I won't buy you anything, but I'll give you a free middle finger. I don't drink coffee. Not really, other than I am certainly looking forward to your upcoming relationship video. Yeah, the one I'm doing this week I really like because it's got all the screenshots and it proves that idea that no matter what you do, if you're not with the woman, you get attacked and demeaned. Yeah, I was myself, and then I got tricked by that transformer. I didn't know she was a Decepticon. Um, well, I would presumably want more than one, so you know, like they both have their pros and cons. Yeah, I'm not sure. I lean towards Sun, but you know, I'm just imagining this chick stuff like going on, like having a son, and then they experience the same thing with bras. Like, oh no, they've now reached a new era of ridiculousness. Like he comes online, you must own this and you must have that. I thought I was the only one. Uh, who said this? As soon as you, oh yeah, they always do that. That's that effect. I already talked about her on Patreon, so I don't need to be redundant. I was just very surprised. That's all you need to know about her. She went from a very nice person that seemed to care about me on an individual level to being the single biggest gold digger in U.S. history. And then a year later, I did a romance video that went viral, and I got treated like a second-class citizen. All because I wasn't with the woman. No, James, I've noticed the same thing. They don't show up, and then we talk about chicks. Hey, let's do a song. The romance crew coming through, doing their thing, annoying me so much. I gotta sing. But yeah, see you later, James. See you later, Megumi. I'll stream on Monday. Have a good day.